Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday and welcome back to Evolve Love. We are at the middle of the week for our podcast episodes this week. And as always, today's episode is going to be inspired by a card pull. And what is so crazy to me is this card pull was spot on, as I honestly feel like it always has been with this podcast. I just love how every time the card connects with what we are talking about, what is aligned with the theme of the week. And so this week I'm using The Wisdom of the Oracle by Collette Baron-Reid, and I'm using the pocket deck, which I'm pretty sure is the same as the full deck, just smaller. And today's card is number 21, Clean It Up. And I'm going to put a picture of this on my Instagram stories over on @_evolve love so that you can see the image because it's really unique. There is a deer, I want to say it's like a buck or a stag, and there's a broom. And so literally like a cleaning up. And a lot of the time, the buck deer is a symbolism for leadership. And so here we are having this lead symbol, cleaning up the space, standing in the power and knowing that it has to be done, knowing that we have to clean out. And this goes so much along with the theme this week because the main topics of the card include getting to the core of a situation, feeling freedom from burden, cleaning house, literally and figuratively, of what is no longer needed. And I think this is also such a beautiful card to pull because we are coming up on a full moon this weekend. And in the full moon, we do take the time to release what is no longer serving us. And so this card, with all that we've talked about already so far on Monday and Tuesday, what this really made me think about is we have been trying to take note by being present and being aware of the times when we let our thoughts get away from us, when we begin to maybe go into a spiral of negativity, maybe when we begin overthinking things or creating almost like movies in our head of what if scenarios or what could be. So these things that happen can really bring our levels down, can really bring our frequencies down, and sometimes can create this perpetual wheel of overwhelm with just the thoughts. And what is so hard about this is that these are thoughts we are having most of the time, most of the time. They are not things that are actually happening or have happened or anything like that. It's we are cycling these thoughts of fear, of anxiety, of negativity on our own person, that criticalness that we're talking about. Because with, the inner voice, sometimes that voice can be so critical. So we can have our thoughts overwhelming us. And when this happens, we start to, at times, build resentment towards things when we keep all of these thoughts cooped up inside, because no one really may know what you're thinking unless you share it with them, unless you talk it through with them. And with that, feelings of resentment, of bitterness can kind of come into the surface because you just wish that people around you knew what it was that you were feeling. But how are they going to know if you're not going to tell them? So with this Clean It Up card, it also talks too about, the feeling of lack when we begin comparing our lives to others. So here's another notion that we need to begin cleaning up, because with this comparison and this feeling of lack, Like, I don't have what this person has, or I don't do what that person has. This can create another negative spiral and thought pattern that we need to really be aware of. Being aware that, okay, I'm beginning this cycle, I'm starting it. Am I going to continue it on, or am I going to end it right here? So this card is challenging us to energetically free and clear our physical space and our mental space. And the other thought too around this card was, we all have like the baggage or the weight that we bring with us and we carry it. But what stays and what goes? So last week on the podcast, when we were talking about honoring the past, we talked about like the ways in which we can bring the beautiful parts of our past that we want to bring with us into the future, and to know when we need to let go of the parts that are just weighing us down, or that may just be like that added baggage. So with the Clean It Up card, some suggestions that I have thought or that have come to mind is, where are you consuming things that contribute to your negative self-talk, overly critical thinking? Where are situations that you're putting yourself in where this is happening? So on a given day, this is our Mercury day. We talk about communication and we do journal prompts on Wednesday, but today we're going to do sort of like a log. Okay. So we're going into today logging where we start to feel that negative loop begin, that overly critical thinking, that resentment, that bitterness. Log when it begins. So this really creates a big connection to our present awareness. So we are going to check in where it starts. Are we allowing it to unfold further from there, or does that awareness pull us away from that moment and help us to shift our tone? So this is something that we're going to look at in today. And with this log, at the end of your day, can you look at, is there a place where you are taking in something or consuming something that is then causing you to go into this spiral? Okay. Is it scrolling on Instagram? Is it particular accounts that you follow? Is it scrolling through the news? Is it scrolling through Facebook? Whatever it is, write it down. So that's going to be like the deeper part of the journaling, is what is contributing to your spirals. Think about all the situations that come up in a given day. So that is the first question. Okay. So first we're logging, then we're asking that question. Now the second question that I have for us today is, how can we, or let's see, what is a tool that we can use to stop or slow that cycle from happening? So if we see us starting to have this negative narrative beginning, is there something we can do to turn it off? Is there something we can do to shift? So some examples might be, I feel the negative moment coming on, and maybe like in yesterday's episode, I'm going to throw on some affirmations around whatever subject I'm feeling. I feel this negative welling up inside of me on Instagram. Can I turn it off? Put it away for the day? Can I silence the accounts that are bothering me? Trying to think about like, what can we do to stop or slow the cycle from continuing? So in today's card, Clean It Up, it really, in my mind, means how can we break this cycle of these loops that we allow ourselves to go into, whether they're loops of negativity, of anger, of sadness, of comparison. Like, we could go on and on and on about the loops that we may go through. But the biggest part of these loops that we're trying to recognize is the loops that are of the lowest vibration, the loops that are of the lowest frequency. Because when we remain in a place like that, that is just all around not good. I mean, you could look at any information about frequencies and podcasts about, your vibration and things like that. But if we allow ourselves to remain at a low vibration, that is really over time unhealthy for our bodies, unhealthy for our spaces. So this is where we're making the shift and we're changing it up. And I'm right there alongside of you doing this, because I know on a given day, I'm like really curious, honestly, to log how many times I start to feel the loop cycle begin. and to take note, because I think it may be happening more frequently than I'd like to say that it is. But for me, like I said on Monday, it's about an awareness of this, because I'm never going to be able to shift or make changes if I don't see it in the first place, if I don't acknowledge where problems are or where these loops begin in the first place. And so that is really what we're discovering in this week, is where can we find it? And then in today, where can we begin to clean that up? What can we do to shift? So I'm going to include those questions in the show notes, because I know it's probably hard to remember. And if you're driving, you probably won't be able to write them down. So make sure you're checking out the show notes for those questions. Check out the Instagram at _evolvelove to be able to see the image of the card in the stories today. And I just hope that you all have a beautiful day. And even though this is a heavier topic, I hope that what it does is help you to feel lighter by the end of the day. I hope that you feel freer and more relieved of any burdens that you're carrying by the end of today. And it's not an easy task in any way, but like I said, we're just bringing awareness to it in this week. So I want to thank you all so much for your support, for your listens, for being here, for your shares, for your DMs, for everything. I'm so truly grateful for you. And I'm so looking forward to checking in with you again tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.